A jump point connects 2 points, disparate spaces in the physical space. So basically you go through an opening on one side, you travel through a sort of a tunnel, and then you pop out somewhere else in space. Jump points are naturally occurring. The first discovery of a jump point was actually by accident. It was a cargo ship that had a leaky quantum drive, basically triggered the first opening of the jump point. It accidentally slipped inside and then disappeared, and they found it several years later when Nick Croshaw, who basically was the first one who discovered that the leaking quantum engine was the cause of triggering this rip in time-space to basically open up. And so he basically kind of solidified the knowledge to be able to replicate it consistently.
There's been a lot of information shared over the years.
A lot of it has changed as we've learned and had new ideas.
So here's a primer on the first jump point we're building today.
By some of the people that are currently building it.
And what you see and hear is super work in progress.
So welcome to Inside Star Citizen, Intro to Jump Points.
So a jump point is basically the means at which a player is able to transition from one solar system to another. There are two different jump point experiences, permanent and transient.
The permanent jump points are the ones that are the most stable, and they are always available for the player to travel through.
It's the well-trafficked, well-traveled route that most people will go through.
Which you find on the star map. The ones that you would like, say, transition from Stanton to Pyro, Pyro to Stanton.
Since they're stable and generally larger and easier to travel, there are infrastructure built up around them to support the commerce that goes through them on a regular basis. So we made a creative decision to remove the circular gates that we were doing in some of the concept art before. It just didn't match the reality of how we wanted to set these up in the world. They're supposed to be naturally occurring. And if you have like this infrastructure around it making this circular jump gate, then that's not showing like how it actually functions in the world.
We've lost the sort of size restriction when it comes to permanent jump points. So the main jump points that lead from system to system will accept any size ship.
Transient jump points are more ethereal.
First you have to find them, and once you've found them, you don't know where they go.
We like to call in the narrative team the Swiss cheese approach to jump points, which are smaller access points to the main tunnel. Those will still be restricted by small, medium, and large. So basically it opens up opportunities for smaller ships to kind of sneak their way through.
A transient jump point may only be able to be used once. It may be a little bit more permanent, but you can never tell how long does it last once you find it.
If people are looking to avoid scrutiny, we'll look for these sort of side routes to get into the jump point to bypass, security or customs or stuff like that.
In 4.0, our first and only jump point will be the one linking Stanton to Pyro and Pyro to Stanton. Maybe the best way to share this design is simply to walk you through the whole thing. So we leave Lawville, we put it onto our star map, and we set our course for the Stanton to Pyro jump point. QT there. And then upon arrival, you will fly down to the gateway station that's located there, because you're going to want to make sure that you're stocked up for your trip into Pyro, because Pyro may well not have the things that you're used to in Stanton. You probably want to pick up some ammo, and you want to pick up some more fuel, probably some more fuses, and then after that, undock, and then turn yourself to view the jump point.
The jump points will be visible from far distance. It probably will appear as a small star kind of a thing that just pulses and asks you to come near me.
You'll see the massive whirlwind from the gravity pool that the jump point itself is creating. which is a gas cloud, and you'll see it in various different colors or forms. You can fly towards where the jump point will be, and there is structures in Stanton that sort of lead you towards the jump point.
When you approach the jump point, what you'll hear is the general ambience of the whole area, whether that's the distant portal emitting energy or violent clashes of thunder that is drawing the player into this central jump zone. And as we get closer, this will build up, and the player will feel like they're being drawn into something primordial.
With jump points, multiple players can take them at the same time, so it is probably likely that you will encounter other players waiting to make their jumps.
And you'll also see like the security and the turret infrastructure around it that's providing a safe experience on the permanent jump gates.
In order to perform your jump, the first thing you need to do is get closer to the jump point.
But you won't be able to go all the way up to it. Like when it's not active yet, it has a field around it that will push you away until you've attuned to the anomaly that allows you to go through.
You have to call ATC. The anomaly needs ATC to be able to allow you to enter.
When you're using a jump point, you're actually just an individual. So the ATC calls that you have to make are for you, and then the groups that you go in are designated by the ATC.
If you contact ATC at the same time, you can be put into the queue together, but there's no guarantee that you'll be in the same jump group.
If you want to jump with your friends, you need to make sure that you arrive together, and when you call ATC, you will be able to see how much space is in the group. So if you have friends and you want to jump together, you'll be able to know exactly how much room there is in that group. And if it's not enough for you and you want to go with your friends later, then you can forfeit and you go again.
In the future, I definitely want to have some more quality of life features where you can get into queue at the ATC as a party. But currently our ATC does not support queuing as a party, so you'll just be doing it as an individual.
Once you are within range of it, you need to be changing over to nav mode. Your UI will automatically change to the jump drive UI,
which will allow you to know if you're aligned, if you're tuned, if you can go in, if it's blocked. You have a visual input of the UI, the HUD is moving, is turning until you have a message notification that tells you, all right, you're aligned. If you look away, of course, that will trigger the cancellation of that alignment. If you move away from your position, you'll lose probably your position in the queue. You'll have red markers that tells you, or you're on the wrong side, you have to move to that direction. You'll have also kind of like a landing strip where you have the lights that tells you, oh, you have to go in through this area. So you'll have those rings that pulse and tell you you're correctly aligned.
So as soon as the ATC has gotten to your group and you're now able to use the jump gate, your jump drive will start attuning to the gate.
And once you have authorization and you have opened the wormhole, you'll have the tuning visual that's really similar to the aligning, but with tuning messages that tells you what you need to do. And once that's done, you'll have tuning access and you'll be ready to go inside.
While your ship is attuning, you'll see rippling in the anomaly. And as soon as you are attuned, then you can fire a burst of quantum energy into the portal that will rip it open, and you'll have a gate in space that allows you to see the tunnel beyond and travel to your new star system.
When it opens, you'll hear the space around the jump point being ripped apart and everything being drawn into it. A really guttural, swirling sound of all the space around the jump point being dragged into this one singularity.
During this drawing process, the ships are drawn in automatically. You don't have to control anything. You don't have to do anything. There is, in fact, nothing you can do that would stop you being drawn in.
So the plan right now is if there's any obstructions in front of you when you're trying to attune to the gate, that'll break your attunement. So if somebody gets in your way while you're trying to attune, your attunement will pause until that obstruction has gone away. However, if anybody gets too close to the jump gate and they're not attuned, then they're going to get pushed away, which should clear the area for anybody who's trying to get through.
So for the people who want to block a jump point, we are actually considering our options as to how to prevent that from happening.
When you cross the threshold, you'll hear an instantaneous whip of the ship being pulled in and the changing of atmosphere between deep space and this singularity that you're being dragged into.
Once you're in the tunnel, your ship will be flying at a set speed that's determined by the flow of energy through the tunnel.
You'll hear the space around you flying past you at a great pace, like a really long cosmic drain pipe.
And you don't have any control of how fast you're going. You'll speed up in the straights and slow down in the corners to a certain degree, but you still have to navigate.
The tunnel itself is something else. It needs a lot of technical and graphical things that need to happen.
We've got flickering lights, some type of ethereal type of particle effect to show you type of the direction we're flowing. We also have fog effects, and this idea that you're always moving towards a strong, bright light in the distance. The idea we're going off so far is that we're working on the bending of light. You'll see impressions of the exterior, the location you've just come from, and also hints at the way you're going to. The walls of the tunnel type of curving the space-time around you, and eventually, as you travel through the tunnel, that distortion will move away from the initial system you started in and then blend slowly towards the new system you end up in. We can kind of do anything we want because it's an enclosed space, so we're doing things like, on the rendering side, we're taking the sunlight, which we don't normally need when you're in an enclosed space, and we're reusing the sunlight, all the text that goes behind that with high-res shadow maps and these type of things, and directional occlusion, and then reusing that and using that to create a flickering, pulsating effect in the tunnel. And we can take a lot of shortcuts and do a lot of cool things that aren't really possible in the rest of the game because we have this totally enclosed and bespoke play space.
You will not see two-lane traffic inside the jump tunnel itself. In the jump tunnel, you'll see the ships ahead of you, and if you look behind, you'll be able to see ships that are in range behind you, but you won't see traffic going the other direction.
Why do you hate fun?
It's not that I hate fun, it's that I want everybody to have a good experience in this tunnel, and if there's other ships that you can collide with, we want to avoid that kind of situation.
The players' ships, when they're traveling in the tunnel, are going to be in a line. So it's going to be, the term that we use internally is ducks in a row. So one ship behind another ship behind another ship.
There'll be some obstructions in some of the tunnels which you have to dodge around. But for the most part, it's a matter of turning and navigating through the tunnel and not hitting the sides.
Because the closer you are to the edge of the tunnel, the more likely you are to fail your jump.
The edges of those tunnels and those obstructions cause distortion damage to your ship.
There's a pool on your jump drive, and if this pool fills with distortion, then your jump drive will shut down. If your jump drive does shut down, then you're going to fail that jump.
You get booted out of the tunnel, and there's a number of places in the system where you could end up based on like how long you've been in the tunnel. You could end up back in Stanton, or you could be in Pyro, but you're not going to be at where you wanted to be. You're going to be at the edge of the system somewhere and have to find your way back.
Currently, the jumps that we are toying with are about 3 minutes, but this is still open to iteration based on how many ships we want to have in that tunnel, how close they are, and the trip needs to be long enough in order to cover the transition from your origin system to your destination system. When you are arriving via a jump point, you will realize that you aren't actually coming through the same entryway that you would have been passing through to go to the next system. Players will not be able to necessarily camp that point just for you to exit it. The intention is that there will be multiple locations where you will exit to, and so this will mitigate that threat.
It's kind of a shotgun approach coming out of the jump gate because we don't want everybody to be slamming right into each other. We want to be able to spread the ships out that are coming through and get your own view of like your new setting and where you're at.
So when you come out of the Pyro side of the jump gate, you should come out into completely different space than on the Stanton side. So it's sort of like a cave of gas. There's also some structures that lead you directly towards the station. You can do anything you like there. It's just a normal R&R station that is just nice and safe before you go out into Pyro itself, which is more dangerous, of course.
We already shown on the tech preview that you can enter a jump gate and come out the other side, and we've got the ability to transfer servers. We've got that working even better than we ever thought we could at the beginning. We want to make the experience of going through the tunnel as seamless as possible. We don't want it to be super hard, but we want it to be engaging. We're going to save the challenging experience, the super hard acrobatics for the transient gates when we get to them.
We're dialing in the numbers about how many people jump at the same time, distance between ships, precisely the speed at which ships move down the tunnel, things like that. There's a lot of variables involved in balancing it, and there will be far more testing in the tech preview channel for jump points, so you can look forward to helping us figure out there.
Yeah, it's really exciting to be to this point where we're able to deliver this new system of transferring yourself from one star system to another, being able to visit an entirely new star system, and having that experience of going from Stanton to Pyro. It's going to be exciting.
Thanks for watching, and we're all really looking forward to being able to make these jumps and just a normal part of our gaming life.
There you go.
Which is fun, because jumping is fun.
So what did we learn this week? Well, hopefully a whole heck of a lot about the first jump point that's currently in development and scheduled to make its way into Star Citizen Alpha 4.0 in just the next few months. Yeah, I didn't say before the end of this year. We're still targeting something a bit sooner than that. And that's all I'm going to say. And while jump points are a major milestone for the development of this game, before we let you go this week, I'd like to talk to you about a different kind of milestone unique to the program that you're watching now. ISC began in April of 2019, and since then, we've managed to tell a variety of different stories about more aspects of game development than you're probably likely to find anywhere else. That's 200 episodes so far, including the one that you're watching right now, with no plans to stop or slow down in the future. But this journey didn't start in 2019. That's because ISC is only the latest form of a program that's nearly as old as our project. Before then, we were proud to bring you Around the Verse, the talk show at the end of the universe, first created by Ben Lesnick and Sandy Roberts and hosted by an entire cavalcade of CIG developers filling in here and there, with segments that sometimes spawned into their own series like Bug Smashers, Lore Maker's Guide to the Galaxy, Ship Shape, and more. That was 228 episodes filled with a whole bunch of people that may not have always known what they were doing behind and sometimes in front of the camera, but doing everything we could to entertain, inform, and simply showcase the folks who make these video games that we're working on. But even they built their legacy on our first weekly behind-the-scenes talk show created by Eric Peterson and Michael Moreland called Wingman's Hangar, with Hangar with 2 A's. Old heads will know. 72 episodes of that set the foundation for CIG video content to come, even if some of it was just what we shouldn't do. Should I bring back hazy thoughts? No? Okay. So, 72 episodes of Wingman's Hangar, 228 episodes of Around the Verse, and 200 episodes of Inside Star Citizen. I had someone check the math on this 3 times. Someone was me, because I had to be sure. That makes this show not only the 200th episode of Inside Star Citizen, but also the 500th episode in a legacy that we're very proud to maintain, and hopefully continue to improve upon for years to come. Now, we don't have any fireworks or anything like that, and that's not really my style anyway. Instead, I wanted to pay tribute to the 680 people that have worked on or participated in or otherwise made one of these 500 episodes possible. And no, that's also too many to sing about. So instead, we spent the last 3 months going through every record and video we've made in order to ensure that we didn't miss anyone. But before we play our first 500 episodes credit roll, just let me thank the one group of people that aren't listed. No, not you. Move. Yeah, there you are, there you are. You've allowed us to tell stories of game development for 500 episodes now, and that's not even counting all the other programs over the years. You do this each and every week by responding to what we share. And as Dave Kaplan said just 2 weeks ago on this very program, that engagement and feedback is truly what keeps many of us going, and I'm certainly no exception. So thank you once again. Thank you for letting us share the people and process of game development with you. And we'll see you all here next week. And maybe the start of another 500.